All right, here we go. This week from our studios in Los Angeles and Tampa, this is Green Tag Theme Park in 30. I'm Philip. He is Scott Swenson of Scott Swenson Creative Development. On Green Tag, we look at the top news each week and discuss why it matters to industry professionals. And this week, we're talking about how Six Flags stole Christmas.
That sounds so mean, Philip. Sounds so mean.
I don't know. I'm sure there's some people that are pretty upset about it, but
that's all right. That's all right. So let's start down the long list. You know, the 12 days that they took back from Christmas. I don't know.
Yeah, right. I mean, we're a little bit more than 12 in some parks. Yeah.
Yes,
so
exactly.
This was a story that I'm not sure it really made national news because it is one of those things where Six Flags has been canceling events across 4 parks, but different parks. And so I think the reason it really didn't make national news is because it's spread out. And so we're going to be
impacting regionally. It was impacting regionally, so it didn't make national news. However, this is I guess we can say an international company now. So, you got to kind of look at what the small stuff is doing. But I'm sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
And we're going to be excerpting portions from Attractions Magazine coverage, which pulled everything together and did reach out for comment. So we're going to be pulling excerpts from Blake's work over there. But also, this is an article that was sent to both of us by multiple people, specifically for us. And I think the lens for us to talk about it, I like best from Martin Pilicki, who sent it from In-Park Magazine. He sent it to me. And basically, he was asking us to discuss it where we always say that doing seasonal events and this type of thing is the best practice for theme parks. And here is Six Flags, who just talked about all of this great stuff on their investor day, and now they're doing this. And so is this going counter to what we say, or is it not going to counter? So I think that's a good lens for
it's a great lens. It's a great lens.
As always, Martin has good insight. It's about this item, but I'll give details first, maybe, and maybe we can go through each one. But so none of them really said why. The only one that really had a quote was from Great Adventure. And so at Great Adventure, they canceled Holiday in the Park. And the quote is, "After much research and planning, we've made a strategic decision to focus on delivering exceptional guest experiences during our core operating season, spring through fall. This shift allows us to concentrate our efforts and resources during the time when the majority of our guests visit Great Adventure, and weather conditions can more consistently support our goal to deliver an enjoyable and memorable visit for all." That's Great Adventure.
Stop there. We got to break this apart, because that is I'm sorry. You know, I don't normally get too wound up or too frustrated by this. That is so much malarkey that we're just going to break it down sentence by sentence.
No, it's the weather, Scott.
It's the weather. Let's blame everything on the weather. And when they don't make their summer numbers, it's going to be the weather's fault. But now it's the weather why they're getting rid of Christmas. So that's number one.
We need a sound effect that is every time a park blames something on the weather. And
we'll do a thunderclap.
I know this is a whole separate thing, and I don't want to, but no, Horror Unleashed in Chicago is going to be fine. The weather's not going to be an impact at all. But if weather's impacting everybody else, I don't know.
But it's so the weather excuse number one. Yeah. Even more importantly, we really want to focus on our core audience and the core times that people are there. So before you haven't been, is that what you're saying? Is that you've been letting the vast majority of your operating hours be, this is shit. Really, people, really think about what you're saying here.
Yep.
This is one. So the reason this is so triggering for me is because I have lived through this. I have lived through this in my career, where it looks good on paper to say, let's stop doing these extra things. Let's cut back on our seasonal activations. And what ends up happening is you end up losing money, and they don't know how to replace it. So what you're going to do is you're not going to really save that much. What you're going to do is lose return visitation. What you're really going to do is lose the value of your season pass. All right. So, because let's face it, passports, even if it's a separate ticketed event, having a passport always gets a discount of some sort. Always. And so it reduces the value of your season pass. All right. So that's an important thing to take into consideration. The amount that you're saving looks really good on paper. You can reduce your labor. Looks really good on paper. You can not invest in the strike, the storage, the reinstallation of your seasonal
The
activation.
staffing.
Looks
Yeah.
really good on paper. But what that translates into is fewer visits because guests don't come back, especially if you are a regional or a local park. Guests just decide, well, gosh, we won't. Normally we go to the park maybe twice over the summer, once for Halloween, once for Christmas.
Yep.
And when you say, okay, we're going to cut Halloween, we're going to cut Christmas, okay, we'll go to the park twice instead of 4 times. That's 50% of your visitation. Now, these numbers are anecdotal, they are made up, but I have lived through this. I am hoping Six Flags. What this says to me is we're in trouble. And we've got to make our stockholders really happy really fast. So we're going to do something like get rid of Christmas or get rid of Halloween because it looks like a really big cut in the books.
Yep.
What's unfortunate is if this holds true as it has, let's see, I've gone through this same challenge 3 times in my career, twice as a consultant and once as a actual member of a park. And it is going to backfire because what's going to end up happening is they will have such, depending on how popular the Christmas events were, they will have such backlash that they will have no other option but to try to bring back something, try to salvage some sort of Christmas. And because they weren't planning to do it from the get-go, they're going to have to do it fast. And you've heard me say it a million times, make it fast, make it cheap, make it good. Well, guess what? If you want it fast and good, it ain't going to be cheap. And it's going to end up costing them more money than had they not canceled it to begin with. So I'm sorry, Philip, you may continue now.
Well, something I was going to ask is where is that line? Because something we do talk about is kind of like knowing, I guess, looking at your assets and utilizing your assets and knowing when also to reinvest and what to stop doing and what to start doing, which is something you say all the time.
Stop, continue.
So I think like, where's the line in this? Because the only thing I was thinking about this is, and again, I probably have more of the board mentality.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Mm-hmm.
Scott has I'm in the entertainment team on the ground and I'm at the park because you've lived through it. And I'm more of the like executive suite, which is
Sure.
most of my experience. Sure. And so when I look at this, I could buy the argument only because of their operating calendar. If they usually close midway through November, they're not even open until Thanksgiving. So how much time would they really have to monetize a Christmas holiday in the park experience? Because you're losing like, all of December. I mean, if you close halfway through November, which is their normal closing time period, is that enough time even to monetize?
Well, we're not
Christmas?
talking about not doing a Christmas event that they've never done. We're talking about canceling a Christmas event that they have done. So they already
they've already marketed too.
And they've already marketed. They already have that information. They've already spent the marketing money.
Yeah,
they've already spent the marketing money. So what this and people will say, yes, but it'll be just cheaper not to open the park. Well, if your park is in such bad state that the best way for you to make money is to close, you got other problems. It's not Christmas.
That's true.
It's not Christmas. And I would talk to you, Philip, as the C-suite guy and say, how are you going to make up for the lost visitation?
Yep.
Because you're going to lose visitation. And there is not a single person out there who is going to find any way to logically disagree with that. Oh no, people will come even if we don't have a Christmas event. No, they won't.
No, they won't.
Not if you're putting all your focus, as your statement says, putting all your focus on the summer and fall when the vast majority of your guests are coming. Well, that is true. But Christmas and Halloween is when they come back.
Yeah.
So if you can survive on one visit from your guests per season, great. Good choice.
Well, I'm still trying to puzzle it out because if they normally, I don't know when their operating calendar, I looked it up and I don't think it's even been announced their closing date, or I couldn't find it. But so I'm sure people are listening probably know, but my understanding is it closes mid to late November, this park in particular. So if Halloween runs until November 2nd or 3rd, then it's like 1 or 2 weeks. So I think, so what you're saying is if basically no one's going to come during those weeks at all, it's going to just completely drop off because there's no reason to, because there's no Christmas event for them to see. And if they had been able to stay open, you would have gotten one extra visit because people want to come and see Christmas before everything closes.
Correct.
So you're going to just completely, those 2 weeks will be completely dead or whatever.
Assuming they even open. Assuming
if they even open.
Yeah, that's the next question. Are they planning on just, like with seasonal parks, quite often they will, as you mentioned, they'll do a Halloween event, then close for a couple weeks, reopen a Christmas event, and then close for the season. If they're just saying they're going to close at the end of their Halloween event, then where are they going to replace, or where are they going to make up all of the attendance they're losing during the Christmas event? Now, I don't have access to this data. So if the data is such that they were losing money, hemorrhaging money on their Christmas event, then perhaps, yes, it is best to just not do it. But I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I think...
But I don't think that's the case.
Again, playing the C-suite role, I can pretty clearly see the argument of like, that probably actually was the argument. The argument was like, why should we set up all this Christmas stuff when we're not even going to be open through Christmas at this particular park? We should just shut it down and reallocate that budget to a different park that is going to be open for Christmas. And that way we can have a better return at a different property and encourage these people to drive to that place. Or, if they really want to do Christmas, we can drive to the nearest place and we'll put more money into that.
So are you going to give them a discount with your season pass if they don't have the almighty grand Six Flags season pass?
Yeah. So
are you going to give them gas money?
I don't remember what they said in this story, but I know at some of the other parks, they were allowing someone to take, if they had a ticket already for the cancel thing, or if they have a season pass and they canceled the event, they're allowing them to go to a nearby thing. But your point about like, then they have to drive and they still have to like pay for gas. So it's not like it's free
and
for the family to do that.
Yeah. It's not a 1-for-1 swap here.
Yes. Yes, that's true. Yeah. So that's interesting. I'm sure that counter argument, I'm not sure if it was made. Who knows? But like, that's the interesting.
No, I can tell you, it just looks really good because all they looked at was, we can save this money and we can save this money.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Save this money and we can save this money. And it sounds based on
they didn't look
my
at the projected revenue, basically. They looked at the cost saving.
They looked at the cost savings, did not compare it with the projected revenue. Or maybe they did. And like I said, their Christmas events are in a bigger hurt than I would anticipate them.
But that's a problem that they should have. That's a bigger problem.
That's a much bigger problem.
That's a much bigger problem.
It's a much bigger problem. So again, I'm hoping that they're looking at this going, well, this is the sacrificial lamb that we're going to throw to make our books look right for the year. But then they look at going, oh my God, we got to bring this back.
Yep.
Now, having made this announcement, and if they intend to go down this path, my recommendation, based on my experience, is when you have that moment where guests are saying, "You've ruined my holidays forever. You've ruined my children's Christmas because we went every year," and you're going to get at least one of those, if not hundreds of them. Do not try to bring it back this year. Bring it back next year with grand glory and excitement. We heard you. We love you. Please come back for Christmas. Because if you have to bring it back the same year, you're going to spend twice as much and you're going to get half the bang for the buck. Yep. So you're basically going to shoot yourself in the foot twice. Number one, for canceling Christmas, and number two, for bringing it back inappropriately. The idea here is, and again, I'm not saying this just because as a consultant, I do seasonal activations. I'm not saying it because of that. I have seen it work significantly more times than it not work. And if, I like to think about it as you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater here. Yes. If you've got a Christmas event that is not turning a profit, because again, the only way this actually saves money is if the event itself is not profitable.
Yep.
And
which is the problem. If you can't make money off Christmas, there's a bigger problem.
There's a much bigger problem. Yeah.
So your argument is even if it's early, because I don't even know when people start. But that's the thing. I think people start celebrating Christmas pretty early. So I
Once
think you would
Halloween's
still,
done.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, exactly.
Most Christmas events that I work on in the smaller parks start maybe the week before Thanksgiving because
Yep.
it gives them a little bit of time to change over from Halloween. But look at Disney.
Yep.
They have two
They
nights.
start.
They have a 2-night changeover.
Yeah, they start like I think November 8th this year. So yeah. Well, so let's look at some of there's 3 other parks that are doing different, and they're all different reasons. So Six Flags Over Georgia, it also canceled Holiday in the Park. And this is a little bit different because it's actually going to continue operating through November 30th. So this is going through Thanksgiving, but they're still canceling Holiday in the Park. And instead, what they're going to do is debut a new event called Heroes Fest starting November 9th. And they said it's a celebration of your favorite heroes alongside everyday heroes in our local community. So this is like, I feel like it's almost worse in a way because like it's not like they're not doing anything. They're like, we're gonna do a event, but it's gonna be this, and the event isn't even gonna start until November 9th. So like it's only gonna be a several week event anyway, but it's not Holidays in the Park, which already has brand recognition and all the things you just said. And it's also like not going to start right after Halloween. So you're still missing that, like between the days of whatever they end Halloween, November 2nd and the 9th, that week, no one's going to go. So like, what?
Somebody went to Gaylord and said, hey, look, they're having great luck with superheroes. Let's do that. No, so with this one,
maybe that is what happened.
Crazier things, goofier things happen sometimes. With this one, again, I think it is misguided, but at the very least, they're not getting rid of a seasonal activation. They're replacing one with another. Now, does it?
But why did they do it when they've already marketed and announced Holiday in the Park? Like why? Like again, why wouldn't you? I guess because of the merger and they didn't have the time, I guess, to do it. But like, wouldn't you think? Wouldn't you think the way to do it would be this year, just do the Holiday in the Park, and then say next year we're going to have this event instead of like marketing a thing and then canceling it and then doing a new thing, which now you have less time to market. Like why would you have done it this way instead of waiting till next year?
Well, the only thing I can think of is because now they're only going to be open through November 30th. I would have imagined if they were going to do Holidays in the Park, they would have been open through Christmas week or through, January 1st. So
it's trimming operations.
This is trimming an operations calendar, which means 30 days less of earning revenue.
Yeah. Right. So that's something interesting because I keep thinking about, does this track with what they had said during the investor day? And I want to say it kind of does track because they did mention in investor day about how they were going to be optimizing the operations calendars. And so I think maybe we didn't interpret it in this way, but you could look at this as optimizing. I mean, whether or not, to your point, whether or not they're correctly calculating the lost revenue or they're just looking at cost, that's a different question. But like basically they're saying these parks are not worth operating in these weeks. And so because these are not operating these weeks, we're not going to put the holiday events on them.
Yeah. And the idea of, getting the most clicks of the turnstile, which is something else they were very adamant about. They're going to expect those without providing anything new or unique to bring people back.
Right.
Not sure
I think
how
that's
going to
the
happen.
fallacy in all of it. Yeah, that's definitely. And also, I think you make a good point where it's like, you would think that if they were going to ever make money at any point, it's going to be during Christmas.
Well,
like
again, each of these regional parks has their own unique challenges, their own unique competitions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It is possible that see, now I sound more like me because I'm being a little more Switzerland here. But it is possible that with Six Flags Over Georgia, the reason they're not doing a Christmas event is because they can't compete with all of the other local Christmas events. There's already, stuff around don't know what their competition would be, but there's already enough stuff around them that people are already committed to that they figure, well, gosh, we don't really need to. But let's do at least something heartfelt, which is superheroes. But I'm not quite sure. Hero Fest. It's a celebration of our favorite heroes alongside everyday heroes in our local community. Are these IP heroes? Are these made up heroes?
I think it's both. It's like the local teacher, but also with like Superman.
Right. Well, I mean, I know that they
Right.
have.
Yeah.
I know that they have. That the Six Flags has IP relations with, Batman, Flash,
Yeah. DC. Yeah.
DC. Generally speaking, yeah.
Well, I wonder if it could be a competition thing. You're right. It could be competition, but then it goes back to the idea of value of the season pass, which you mentioned earlier.
Of
Like,
course.
if it's free, I mean, the thing about the competition is that they have to pay to go to any other event. But in theory, if you're going based off of the theory of just the turnstile clicking, it should be free to go to Holiday in the Park. So again, it's a value add where like you just get an extra event for the pass you already paid
Another
for,
reason
and now
for
you
people to
don't
come
get it.
back. Yeah, another reason for people to come back. But at least they're replacing it with something.
Yeah. So someone who's not replacing anything. So let's go to Michigan's Adventure. At Michigan Adventure, the family-friendly Tricks and Treats event is canceled for 2025, and it will shorten its operating season as well entirely. The final day of its 2025 calendar is now September 1st. So I think this one is more. Again, it's a smaller park. I mean, it's a really smaller regional park. So this really could just be that
this is the pendulum swinging back. This is the pendulum swinging back. And Michigan, Muskegon, by September 1st, it's pretty cold.
Yep.
Pretty chilly. Yep. So this could be weather related. The interesting thing to me is it's the Tricks and Treats event that is canceled.
Yeah.
It's the lighthearted, family-friendly event that every park thinks they want to do for Halloween.
Yes.
That is canceled. So once again, shortening their operating calendar, shortening their opportunity to earn money, and eliminating something that would bring people back, especially people with young children. Now, there are many different schools of thought on how do you handle your target audience. Do you aim at your low target for Christmas and your families for and your older target for Halloween, or do you flip-flop that, or do you do the all youth? And there's a gazillion different reasons to do it a gazillion different ways. So that's just depends on the park. With this one, it's what I'm seeing here, and maybe I'm wrong, but what I'm seeing here is we have to make a radical cut. The only thing we can do is shorten our season. And we can't do trick or treat before September 1st. So really what they're doing here is this is not a canceling of a seasonal event. This is a shortening of the park operating calendar.
Yep.
Because something is so far amiss that they've got to find a way to fix some sort of financial leak they have going on. That's what this seems like to me. Now, maybe I'm wrong. I don't sit on their board. So.
Yeah, it's, and plus I would say it looks like it's a pretty small, I was trying to find numbers for when there are no published numbers that I could find easily, but in 2011, 1 million attendance annually, but that was 2011, and we've had like ups and downs, right? So
yeah.
It's not a huge park, right? So,
well, not only are they shortening their calendars or getting rid of seasonal activations, aren't they also changing their?
There's one we didn't talk about.
Oh, there's one we didn't talk about. Okay.
Yes, there's one, and I saved it for the end because I think this one is the one that has the most makes the most sense. So in Six Flags America, okay, so remember Six Flags America is the one that is like permanently closing. Okay, so this one is Six Flags America is permanently closing at the conclusion of its 2025 season, and what they said was they're canceling Fright Fest for this. So Fright Fest was supposed to be the last thing to ever happen at the park, and it's closing permanently on November 2nd. So basically, it's just done. Like there's going to be no Fright Fest, no event, no anything. So, but I think I can see it on one end, like this park is closing. So what I would say, if we're looking back our previous conversation, the board is probably thinking this is closing anyway permanently. So why would we spend money on Fright Fest? But then I think Scott's point is like, then why would anybody come to your park before it closes?
Well, they may be they may be relying on the fact that there's a nostalgia that we've
Yep.
got to go before it closes, and they don't need their Halloween event to do that. It'll be our last chance to do this. It'll be our last chance to do. I mean, look at Walt Disney World here. The people, the attendance at Magic Kingdom for the last day of riding the paddle boat,
Yep.
before that closed to become Cars. So they may be playing on the nostalgia. To me, it's short timers. They're just looking at it going, well, we're closing anyway. Why should we bust our butt to do this? Let's just not do it. Plus, I think staffing would be a challenge because
That's true.
There's no longevity. The park's going away, so I don't know how they would staff or get the additional staff they would need to do Fright Fest.
So this one you think makes the most sense?
This one does seem to make the most sense because the park's closing. All they're really doing, and permanently. So all they're really doing is closing early.
Yeah, yeah. So then they're not losing any like IP thing with the other parks because you're not going to reopen Fright Fest there.
Yeah, they're closing early, and in that case, it may actually save them money. But speaking of saving money, if you are a fan of Six Flags, aren't they adjusting their ticketing as well?
So they're running a sale right now also, which is interesting that these are done at the same time. And I feel like it's an interesting push where you have these parks where they're only in these three instances, right? But in these three instances, you're losing perceived value because of the season passes, because of the canceled events. However, they are doing a new promotion right now. They finally put on sale the most valuable pass, which is the one that includes all of the parks. So it's on sale. It's a special sale that's happening right now through September 1st. And during this time, anyone who purchases a gold or prestige tier 2026 pass will get admission to your park that you get your main park. You'll get that admission for the rest of this year and for next year and all other Six Flags owned parks for 2025 and 2026. Plus, you'll get a bring a friend ticket to use in 2025. 1 for gold and 2 for prestige. And most of them also include parking. So the prices range because you do have to have a home park. So the prices range from like roughly 70 to 120. Knott's is like 120 for that, for that. But so that's basically, and I'm thinking about it at Knott's. I'm like, well, 120 if it includes parking and gets you like a bring a friend deal and includes all of the rest of 2025 and all of 2026. I mean, that's
I'm thinking about it, and I don't even have a local Knott's Park.
Yeah.
I mean, a perfect example, when Eric and I went to Great America, we bought a season pass because we bought a season pass during one of these sales. It was during one of these sales, and the season pass was the price of a single admission.
Yep.
And we were going to be there 2 days. So we bought a season pass and didn't pay for parking. And
it's crazy.
So, yeah, let me just point this out. If you have a pair of jeans that cost $100 and you mark them down to $10, they're no longer a $100 pair of jeans. They are now a $10 pair of jeans that you're going to overcharge for later.
Exactly.
So, and again, this is based on personal experience. I have seen parks that have decided we just need to click the turnstiles. We'll make all that money back in food and beverage and in revenue or in merchandise revenue and, upsell and it has taken some parks a very long time to recover from this. This is devaluing the park. I mean, just by definition, they're saying that it is worth, our parks are only worth $75 for full and complete admission every single day.
For like 2 years. So it's even less.
Yeah, for 2 years. So, I mean, and even at 120.
Yeah.
Even at 120.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem. This is something I'm not sure we've talked too much about on the show, but it's the whole discount strategy.
Mm-hmm.
I know I used to talk about this whenever I teach a marketing class, even with haunters. You're like, everybody always wants to be like, let's do a discount ticket. And I'm like, do not do that. Because then, like, even if it comes from a point of good things. So like, say you want to do a discount for your military members
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
your local high school, or, I mean, there's so many good causes. And I'm like, I appreciate that sentiment, channel that sentiment into giving them more value, to treat them more special because of that. So find a way to say, if you're a service member, then we're going to actually give you a free fast pass instead, and make it added value. Always add value, never take value away.
Or even for service members, for every ticket sold, you can bring a family member for free.
Oh, see, do that instead. Like, this is one of those things where you're like, I know you want to encourage, it's supply demand. We know you want to encourage ticket turnstiles and all that Scott said. However, I do also agree this is the wrong way to do it, because all you're doing is devaluing the long-term value of the parks. Because what's going to happen in a few years when you've spent all this money renovating, and then you're going to say it's worth more because of all the renovations, but everyone else is not going to agree.
Right. And I'll go so far as to say, I've taken what I've learned from what I will call failed pricing structures in other parks. And yes, that is plural. In other parks, I've taken what I've learned from there and actually applied it to my own pricing structure for my consultation fees. I do have different tiers based on what the organization is, because that's matching the level of, it's meeting my clients where they live. Okay. But I will not change the price of something. I may discount it if they book more things. Like, I will do a quote that will say, then I will, on top of this, I'll give you a 20% package discount if you sign a contract for all these things. The moment they decide to break that up, that 20% discount goes away.
Yep.
So as you say, it is a value add, not my services are worth less. And the moment you say your park is worth less, it takes you years and years and years to recover from that. So I'm hoping that this sale doesn't become a permanent sale. I'm hoping that they can because the reason you do sales like this is because you are cash poor. You need an influx. You need an influx of money now. So you decide, well, let's kick the can down the road a little bit. But what's going to happen, and I have seen it happen before, you get a $75 2-year pass. It expires, and you're trying to charge full price again, $350. And all of a sudden they're like, well, it was $75 2 years ago. What? I'm not going to do that. Let's go somewhere else.
Yeah.
It will happen.
Yeah.
It will happen. So I'm hoping that they've got a great strategy. I have to say, and you may not hear it, I actually thoroughly enjoy Six Flags parks. If it weren't for Six Flags Great America, I would not be a theme park nerd. I grew up in those parks. I just recently went back to those parks, and Six Flags looked great, by the way. Really clean, not terribly well attended, but everything was working, everything was running. The park was immaculate. The staff was okay. They're pretty good. So I love Six Flags parks. I just hope you're not making a big mistake. That's all.
Yep.
So we're out of time. Speaking of big mistake, we've gone on too long.
We're way over time.
We're way over time. So
it's okay.
So again, it hit a trigger with me. So I apologize, folks.
And thank you everyone for sending this to us.
Yes,
we appreciate it.
Yes, you knew it would trigger me. You knew it would trigger me. So you were right. This is Green Tag Theme Park in 30. And on behalf of Philip Hernandez and myself, Scott Swenson, we'll see you next week.